This is the Gweike G2 Pro 30 watt portable fiber laser. This literally has to be the smallest fiber laser I've ever received. I've done quite a bit of them. So let's go over some of the features. As mentioned, this is the Gweike G2 Pro 30 watt fiber laser. And this is a 30 watt portable fiber laser. It has 0.001 millimeter motion accuracy. It could engrave up to 15,000 millimeters per second, engrave up to 3 millimeters deep, engraves metals, plastics, and stone. As a safety shield, it has electric Z lifting. It's compatible with light burn, and it has a 150 by 150 millimeter engraving area. Now the control unit / base is connected by fiber optic cord. So you're going to definitely want to be nice and gentle with this, and definitely don't want to twist any of the main cord here. This does have an electric Z lifter, and it's fastened with 4 screws on the bottom. Then you're going to stand it upright, and now we're going to attach the L bracket with a thumb screw. This is where you're going to mount your gavel head. Make sure it's nice and snug. Then you're going to mount the gavel on top, and then you're going to use the smaller thumb screw to mount the gavel head to the L bracket. Then you're going to just plug in one USB-C cable from the control box to the gavel laser stand, or the Z. Then on your handle, you have this USB-C cable. Doesn't look like one to me, but go ahead and cut that off. This USB-C cable is disguised as a thumb drive, and it contains software. Gweike has their own software, and it also has steps on how to use it with Lightburn, which is what I'm going to be using. The installation is pretty straightforward and easy. It can also be found on their website. Once you connect the power, all you have to do to turn it on is turn this safety key and press the start button. Then the status lights on the front will turn green. I have reviewed a good amount of fiber lasers, and this is a 30 watt, and I have 20 watts that are much bigger than this, and this is really small.
Really small. Yeah, it's like, it's freaky small. Well,
and the engraving area is just as big as the other ones. I mean, this is a 150 by 150, which is basically standard size. And some of them don't even offer a motorized Z, which this one does. So it has 2 alignment dots, and then you can just press the button up or down to align those 2 dots, and that way you know that you are in focus. Yep, that easy. No knobs to turn. I actually found the alignment dots not to be as accurate than manually doing it yourself. You bring it to 0, and then you measure your material and add it to it. So if it's 5 millimeters, just bring it up 5 millimeters. It's just that simple. And of course, safety first. You want to make sure that you're exhausting outside. Make sure you have a good vacuum. And also, you want to make sure that you're wearing proper eye protection. And it came with these safety goggles. What do I think about these? Well, they're not certified, and they're just cheap. Don't use them. Sorry, Gweike, but provide some certified glasses to use. You only get one pair of eyes, so make sure you invest in some nice certified safety goggles. And that leads to today's video sponsor, PCBWay. Are you looking for a PCB manufacturer? Are you looking for rigid, flexible PCBs? Are you looking for them to assemble them for you? Well, they can. And they also offer other services such as 3D printing, injection molding, and CNC. Heck, they even have a community section where you could buy a project and assemble it on your own. If you're looking for any of these services, please reach out to PCBWay. So what's going to be my first project? Well, it's going to be some Slate coasters for an order, and you're coming along for the ride. So the speed is 1200, frequency 20, power is 65, line interval at 0.1. And that is for each of the layers. So you don't have to worry about the image or anything. Pretty simple. So batch engraving is definitely easy. You can use a jig, but with the Slate, I actually go about 2 millimeters lower. And that actually brightens the image a lot better, believe it or not. You can see here the nice contrast that it leaves behind. And I did about 30 coasters in just about an hour. So definitely not too bad. Easy as you just click and repeat. So you can definitely make money off of this. Now let's do some challenge coins. I'm a Patreon of Brands Laser Designs. If you're into challenge coins, well, Robert has you covered with lots of different coins, different varieties. He comes out with designs for seasons, for Christmas, Halloween. Look, he has some for Veterans Day. Here's the Merry Grinchmas. I think that's really cool looking. And we could continue scrolling through, and you could just about find anything under Robert's Patreon for something they may be wanting to do yourself. And the files are just super easy. And as you can see, when you click on View Files, you have the PNG, which is massive, and then you also have the Lightburn file. So under the Lightburn file, you have 2 layers. And both of these layers also have the settings already in them. So let's go ahead and check out the Deep Engrave. So you can see that's at 3000 speed, frequency 80, and max power is 90. And then you have the 0.025 for line interval, -45 for scan angle, and it's a 3D slice at 256 passes. Then you also have the clean layer, which is at 1800, frequency 80, max power is 50, and then again you got your line interval at 0.025 and does multiple passes. Now these are benchmarks for basically like a 50 to 60 watt fiber laser. So I started my testing, and I am not really happy with what I'm starting to see. I reordered my challenge coins just right off of Amazon, and the ones that I got don't seem to be solid brass like the ones that I had ordered before. And it looks like I may have to adjust my power because it's going all the way through. Well, it's a good thing that I had the the Slate coaster down there, because oh yeah, look at that. It definitely burned all the way through. I have no idea what type of metal this is, but it's definitely brass plated, so junk. Well, I did order a set of real brass coins after I checked the description more thoroughly on Amazon, and those will arrive tomorrow. So let's go ahead and continue with these garbage ones and just see if I could actually get a nice challenge coin out of it. I did decrease the power by about 20% on this, and so far so good. Everything is looking real nice. The engraving is deep but not too deep. Hopefully it will not go all the way through, but so far so good, and I think this will be a real nice engraving. With the camera angle, it almost looked like it was a brass coin, but nope, it is still a brass plated coin, and you can see the details pretty nicely. But if it was solid brass, you'd see it even better. Nope, decreasing it by 20% did help it a lot. It did not burn all the way through. I really do not know what kind of alloy this is. Definitely not brass, but either way, it did come out really nice, and you can see some nice fine detail. So let's continue on to another one. It is the next day, and I did receive the solid brass coins. And we are doing the Eagle Bomber. And I'm doing just the settings, default settings that were in the file. And so far, so good. Everything's looking really good. And I would definitely do a couple of tests to see what your laser is capable of. I would most likely, for this one, it's not going to be a deep engraving, so, or that deep of an engraving, so chances are I would just reduce the speed on this because it is at 90% power. And yeah, I think this is definitely a real nice coin, nice detail, but it could go a little bit deeper. So this only took about 2 hours and 20 minutes to complete, so I would probably just reduce the speed by maybe, I don't know, maybe by 15% or so to get a deeper engraving. But overall, it came out really, really good. You can see some good detail, but it could definitely be better if we went ahead and slowed it down. So I went back to the Biohazard Skull and to see how that's going to look with the default settings that are in the file. Again, when it comes to doing a challenge coin or anything else, it's definitely going to be testing. Test, and hopefully you won't have to waste too many to see where your laser fits. But this could be the depth that you're looking for. So again, it's all a matter of personal preference on how you want the coin and everything else to look. Yeah, with the solid brass, this looks much better than whatever garbage that other coin was. So let me get into focus here, but yeah, you can see the detail a lot better here. And you could actually just polish these up and it'll come right back to life. Much better. Now let's laser etch a pocket knife. It's a Harbor Freight pocket knife. We're going to do a speed of 400, frequency of 20, max power of 65, and line interval is at 0.015. And we're going to do this for both, for a tripod and as well as the background here. Now this only took about 3 minutes to complete, and it is one pass. I did try it with 2 passes, but I did not see any difference whatsoever. But what I could have done was level out the whole knife a little bit better, because the blade is kind of pointing down a little bit because it is concaved. And then you will see that basically towards the right of the blade, right by the hinge, is a little bit lighter than the rest of the engraving. Now for this is more like a mark versus an engrave. You're not going to really feel it for the power, speed and frequency that I set. If you want to feel an engraving, you're going to want to slow it down. Now I do mess up, and this is a mess up. I had too much confidence and I thought that I had the file correct. So now I need to clean up my mistake. I'm doing a overall pass at speed 4000, frequency 45, power at 60, 3 passes, and a line interval of 0.015. Now I actually did about 9 passes on this. Basically what I'm doing is I'm just redoing the surface. And you can see after the first pass is looking like it's erasing it, but it's really not erasing it. I am removing parts of the surface. And I just recentered the knife, and now I'm doing more passes. Now if you watched the video that I did about laser engraving Harbor Freight tools, I actually did this on the axe. I did my cleanup passes ahead of time because I didn't like the surface finish. And actually by doing this type of pass, you'll see here you have a higher contrast with your image. This is an actual technique that a lot of people that laser engrave metals will do ahead of time, is prepping the surface for a engraving like this, because they don't want a high reflective surface, because you will see that the contrast on this is going to be a lot sharper than the contrast on the the reflective surface of the regular stainless steel polished blade. Maybe you could drop a comment down below. See which finish you like more, either this with the surface prepped or with it polished on the other side. They both have different appeals. So I really like this finish more because it really pops out and you can really see the lettering and the graphics better. Then when I flip it over, it's going to be a little bit more reflective, and you will not see it pop nearly as much as if we treated the surface. So you can see it here, it's more reflective, and here it's a lot more contrast, and it just really pops out at you. So let me know which one you like more. Now let's go over some pluses and minuses. Well, let's start out with some of the minuses first. I mean, there's really not much to complain about this machine. It's got a lot going for it in such a small form factor. Let's go over one accessory that you did not see me use. Now this is the protective cone cover exhaust thing. And I'm not a big fan of these. You can separate it to give yourself a little bit more height adjustments, but it really does not work all that well. And this might just be a personal gripe of mine, because you adjust the height of it and then it just, you're going to have an exposed laser no matter what, or your workpiece might be too big. I don't know. And the exhaust, you can't really have a hose attached to it to exhaust out. It's not that powerful. One thing that stood out was when I was doing the challenge coins and other engravings is that it seemed like the bottom just was not getting enough power. And what that means is that, well, one part is out of focus. And there's only one thing that could really be, is that, well, my gantry is not parallel with my surface, my build surface area on the bottom. Now this is only a torpedo level. I know there's a lot more accurate instruments, but you can see that there is actual difference here between the two. Now it is adjustable to tilt, but those dots and those divots are just too far apart. So that means that, well, I needed to do something to kind of shim up the front a little bit. So after I shimmed it, you can see the top is now pretty darn dead equal to the bottom. And you're going to ask, well, what did I use? Well, I just used this thin little piece of felt, believe it or not. That's all it took underneath to fix the issue. Now I did reach out to Gweike and they're going to send me a new angle bracket, and hopefully that actually fixes the issue. But overall, pretty simple fix. I mean, the positives kind of speak for itself. This is an ultra compact unit. It's literally the smallest but most powerful laser that I have in my garage. I love that it's ultra portable. It does not take up much room. It's easy to transport, and it is pretty darn powerful. And the build surface is equal to almost every other machine in its class. Plus, it has the power lift as well. I really believe that Gweike has a winner here. I mean, this really checks all the boxes for a small form factor laser that's portable and it doesn't take up much room. Now, if you're looking to purchase this, there is affiliate links down below. It costs you nothing, but there's also a coupon code that could save you an additional sum of money if you so choose. So I appreciate you tuning in to Tripod's Garage. Please have a wonderful day, evening, or weekend, or whenever you decide to watch this video. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you the next time on Tripod's Garage.